Mothers are the queens of the castle, but let's be real, it's not all ball gowns and glass slippers.
On this podcast, we're giving you a peek behind the throne at the privilege and responsibility of wearing the crown. My name is Helen Hope Kimbrough, and I'm a proud wife and mom of 2 adult sons.
And I'm Charlita Hatch, a proud wife, married to my high school sweetheart, and a proud mom to 2 little ones. Get ready as we share jewels with each other
and you around all things connected to motherhood. All right, my name is Helen Hope Kimbrough, and I am a mom of 2 adult sons and a proud wife to Marcus.
And I'm Charlita Hatch, and I have 2 little people. I have a 6-year-old son and a 1-year-old daughter, and I am a proud wife to Mark, not Marcus.
Yes, your high school sweetheart.
My high school sweetheart.
Yes.
We broke up a lot, but that's another podcast.
That is a whole different podcast. I love you, Mark. So this episode, we would like to talk about summertime. At first, we were just going to call it summer, but I was like, you know what? I like the groove, summertime.
Summertime.
Yeah, get it, Charlita. Get it, girl.
You're the singer, so.
Here it is, a groove trying to transform. Okay, we got enough of that. Just a little phrase of that. So what we wanted to do in terms of talking about summertime is, what are some things that you like doing in the summer as a mom, but definitely with your family. And so when we talk about that, it's also how do we navigate academics with our children, but also how do we explore different things and new things, because that's also a part of learning and having fun. So I think both of us agree that summer is for fun as well.
Yes. Summer is definitely for fun. And you want to find new experiences and create memories, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like moms are like the chief memory makers in their household. And
Yes.
so there's a lot that goes into understanding what your kids like to do, what you want to expose them to, and how do you do that in a fun way.
Yes.
But then both of us having a passion for early childhood education
Mm-hmm.
and literacy and all
Mm-hmm.
of that, know that there is the summer slide.
Yes.
So Helen, do you want to share about what the summer slide is?
So really the summer slide is when students really regress in some of their learning. And so because it's not structured, it's not regimented, it's not, regular activity. Some people may decide that, you know what, you've had school, for all of this time, 180 days. You're just going to take a break, You can take little breaks, but you can't take a whole summer break. There has to be involvement in terms of what you're going to learn and how you're going to grow and expand.
So you're saying that when my son in school in May, that he should not go the whole summer without reading in August.
He should not go the whole day without reading. Not the whole summer, the whole day. I think you still have to put in, I think they say, 15, 20 minutes of reading. I feel like it has to be more than that. And so at least, 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more. And I think even the reading activity could be fun, right? Because even when kids are tired or they may be lethargic to reading, there's an opportunity for you to read a page, for them to read a page, for you to make it fun and rhyme, a book or something like that, to talk about different characters and colors like inside of a book. So many ways to bring that story to life. You can act the book out, and so it could be like a theater inside of a book. So many things to do in terms of not just with reading, but with math and all of those integrated skills to make it fun. And so I feel like it needs to be like an everyday thing where you set aside some time.
I know one of the things that I do with my son is we read in a tent.
Mm-hmm.
We read by flashlight, we read in the bathtub, and I look for ways to make it fun. And now that he is becoming a reader, we are, reading out loud things that might be on a video game, or it could be a sign for sports. And then I call out to him, hey, we're reading.
Yes.
So that he associates that he's recognizing words. And even though it's not in the book, we're still reading and we're still having fun while we're doing it.
Yeah.
I know another thing that people do with math is it's cooking.
Yes.
And like talking about the measurements, talking about the numbers and breaking through that. But my son likes money like most people. And so he is all into, okay, did you know 100 pennies is a dollar? Did you know that a dollar and a quarter is a quarter of a dollar? Like,
Yep.
so he is into money. And so we're using money to do adding and subtracting and all of
Mhm.
that. So,
Yep, yep.
again, trying to meet them where they are, but still
Yeah.
have fun.
And the other part of that is, even having an experience in your car. Like, I think that's such a learning ground because, you're always traveling, going to either a soccer game or either to ballet or something like that. But it's an opportunity to bring things to life as well. So, I Spy. That is
He loves that game.
a car game, right? And so you got to play fair, though. I don't know if your son plays fair
He
because
absolutely does not. He plays like
they
his
want to
father.
win.
He plays like his father.
Yeah, they want to win, and so it's kind of like no, but you got to play fair. But I Spy is one. Also, looking at the back of the cars and seeing the state plates on the back of cars. That's a way to say, oh, is this the state of North Carolina? Is this the state of South
It's a great
Carolina?
idea.
All of those things, because that's a way that you can kind of expand your world outside of where you live by, looking and kind of counting those things. So I think that's important too. So I think there are fun card games as well.
Yep. So we do I Spy, but we haven't done the license plates. I think that's a great, great tip. We're also big Would You Rather. And the
Ooh.
reason why I like that game is because it's critical thinking,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you do something like, would you rather have ice cream or a cupcake?
Yes.
Now you got to rationalize. You got to explain, like, why did you choose it? And it's
Mm-hmm.
also a good way to like build those conversation skills and
Mm-hmm.
to see what your children are actually thinking.
Yes.
So I love Would You Rather
Yeah.
for that. So one of the things that, when you're starting to think about fun and like the ways you could do it, so
Mm-hmm.
I love the road trip tips,
Yeah.
of I Spy and Would You Rather and figuring out ways to like incorporate reading beyond the book.
Mm-hmm.
And I think of summer not only as learning academically in the
Yep.
classroom,
Yep.
but also that experiential learning of like
Yes.
exploring your world and your community.
Yes.
Um, and then how do you incorporate learning through that? And
Mm-hmm.
so I know one of the things that we just did, not in the summer, but for the spring, my son really loves trains.
Loves trains.
And so he's been learning about all the different types of trains and how
Engineer in the making.
engineer in the making.
Yes.
And all the different types of trains that could be in different places.
Yes.
And so his goal has been to see the subway.
Yep.
And so we went to Raleigh, which is the state capital for where we are in North Carolina. Went to Washington, D.C., our nation's capital,
Mm-hmm.
and explored the Acela and the Amtrak and the Metro and the different train stations there. We went to Baltimore, and then New York.
Yeah.
And it was really cool to try the different like foods in the
Mm-hmm.
different places, to
Mm-hmm.
see how different people live,
Mm-hmm.
and explore the different communities within that. And I really talked to my son about how we were going to do what people do in those places.
Yes.
To learn about, if they walk, we're walking. If they take
Mm-hmm.
the subway, we're taking the subway. If
Mm-hmm.
they eat hot dogs on the street, half of
Mm-hmm.
our family did, the other half didn't. But we really wanted to be open minded and to
Yes.
embrace it beyond the train.
And hopefully you got some great pizza in New York.
Yes, we did we get apparently it's called a slice.
Yes.
Okay, so we did get a slice. And so but it was fun to
Yeah.
do that, and even here to teach our kids, here we say pizza, they say slice.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like that was a great way to learn. And I think
Yeah.
I would say if you have the opportunity, even if you can't travel, to explore your city.
Oh yeah.
And there's usually so many things you could do and so many different opportunities to
Mhm.
do things that are low
Mhm.
cost in the summer,
Mm-hmm.
but really getting out and seeing the community in a way that you might not be able to do within the like four walls of the classroom.
Yeah, yeah. And I look at your journey, and our journeys are a little bit similar because my kids are older. And I've also lived like in 8 different states. And so I've had an opportunity to explore, the various places that we've lived. But I also think it's important just to, remind them of the people that live in these, different areas and what are some great things, what are some disadvantages, every place has them. So we want to think intentionally, about that. What are ways that we can be helpful and, more community oriented? And I love how you said, even in your own community, what can you do? Can you volunteer? Because I think volunteering is a big, big thing to do. If you don't have time to do it in the school year, you can do it in the summer, because you want them to think outside of themselves. You want them to be respectful of others and to humanize others as well in different aspects. So that's important too. I did want to flip a little bit because I want to talk about your favorite place to go in the summer. Mine is the beach.
Same.
And I know that my boys love the beach. And even with my first book, Ocean Waves and Other Tales, it takes place on the beach. And another place where you can explore different things. So it's just not about, the water, but it's about the seashells, or it's about the fish, or it's about fishing, or it's about, um, sitting in the sand and everyone pouring sand like all over you. Just so much fun, right? And what I also think about it, you don't think that, oh, girl, that's the best part. That's the best part. The other thing that I like is, when you go to the beach, you don't have to spend a lot of money going. There are free beaches. And so I feel like that's important. And when we travel and go different places, I mean, sometimes I'll see parents, with two or three, but sometimes I'll see families of like 15 all at the beach because I think that's just an affordable option.
Agreed. And you can always bring coolers and snacks. And most of the time, if you're going to the beach, you're driving. And so I completely agree. There are certainly ways to make it creative and fun and easy. But I made the comment on or a face when Helen was talking about pouring sand all over you because this is how you know she's on the other side with her children. Because when you pour sand all over a baby, it gets in their diaper and it's in their
Oh, well,
diaper and it's
yeah.
hard to clean and
Yeah.
they are like pooping and peeing sand for days and you're like, how did you get sand there? And so I will say that we also are a beach family. And the spring break trip that I've referenced was our first non-family trip at the
Yes.
beach. And so
Mm-hmm.
I would, that was a real big milestone for our family. But at the beach, especially with my son, we overcomplicated going to the beach. We love the
How do
beach,
you
but
overcomplicate
we
it?
took all the things. We took a tent. We took a little baby pool. We took a little traveling crib. We took a little traveling baby tub. We just had all the
At the
things. It
beach?
was our first kid. We didn't know what we were doing. It was our first time on a road trip. So
Okay,
we took
got it.
basically everything that the baby needed at home. We just replicated that
Mhm.
on while we were there. And since then, I think we've learned how to make it easier.
Yeah.
We've learned that babies can take showers with their parents and they don't need a baby tub. We've learned that the baby's not going to sleep in that baby crib anyway. They're going to sleep in the bed with you. So you don't really need the baby crib. And we have also found a place that we really liked on the beach
Mhm.
that have tents that you can rent, or they have
Yep.
cabanas.
Yep.
They already have chairs. And so you can bring those things, right? Because there is a cost to it, but we've
Mhm.
also learned how to make it easier.
Yep.
We've done some like frozen things that can eat in the car, and that
Mhm.
by the time it defrosts, is
Yep.
great. So it's been, and you don't need a cooler. You could just take a bag and freeze the water in the hotel and bring it out on the beach. And
Yep.
so I would say for parents with little people that it can be stressful if you overcomplicate it like we did. But
Mhm.
then you also learn that babies are resilient and they're
Yeah.
fine and they don't really need all those gadgets
Yep.
that we think that they might need.
Yep. Yep. Now, I'm still just thinking about, because I have adult sons, so I'm just thinking about all the things that they've done while we were at the beach. And I mean, I think they just loved hanging out with each other. I mean, it was just bonding like for brothers. And, my sons are 4.5 years apart. And so people would say, are your sons close? I mean, they're 4.5 years apart. And I would say, absolutely. They don't have a choice but to be close. And you could tell, like, when they were out there. So, three of us are beach people. My husband is not. And so, when he comes to the beach, he has his golf clothes on. And we're like, how are you getting in the water with that? And he's like, no, I'm not getting in the water. I'm just going to watch you guys have fun. And so from that, we would sometimes bring him with, but sometimes we were like, we're getting in the car, the three of us, we're just going to go, because we knew that we would be in and out of the water. But it's so much fun. And it's actually before my youngest son went off to college, and I did a beach trip to Sarasota, Florida. And I still see some of the pictures of us on that trip. And it was just the two of us. So that was bonding time for us before he matriculated on. And sometimes I look at those pictures and I'm like, wow, look at you. And he's like, I know, Mom, like that was such a great time for us. And so I think it's so important for you to bond with your family and have these experiences, not just at the beach, but your favorite places. You can, decide and choose for you. But we wanted to share what our favorite places were.
I love that. So if you had one activity or idea you would give moms to try to do this summer, what would it be?
Oh, an activity, I'm going to say create a book.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yep, I'm going to say create a book. And it doesn't have to be, formal. It doesn't have to be, published like some people do, but just the storytelling aspect of it. I think, lived experiences and storytelling are kind of minimized, and they shouldn't be. And so kids have the best stories, and I think they should actually write them down. And it's a way for parents to also keep those for keepsakes, because when it is time for their kids to go off to school, like I did, I would present them with the things that they created. So I think that's something.
I love that. And I think also, when you start thinking about like the book and the storytelling, with so many of our children coming out of the pandemic, any opportunity that we can do that helps that communication and that public speaking.
And social and emotional expressions.
I think that's a great idea. I am trying to raise a critical thinker as well as a reader. And so I'm really into, if you remember back where I talked about Would You Rather? So I would like to do this summer with my son, is to do an ice cream, I don't know what you would call it, but go to different ice cream shops and like say, okay, who has the best vanilla ice cream? Who has the best? And maybe try 3 or 4 different ones and go there, and we like share a scoop and like figure out, okay, well, why do we like this one? Why didn't we like this one? To really start to think about like that rationalization and how do you make decisions and all of that. So I think that's fun. I think it's low cost.
And it's tasty.
Okay. But I definitely think
Who doesn't love ice cream? Go on a hot day, girl.
Yeah, a hot day, and it might be crowded, but it still would be fun to just drive around to like a couple of local ice cream places.
Yeah, I love it.
So thank y'all for sharing, for listening to us share about our summertime tips. I think we would definitely want to make sure that the summer slide is not just a water slide, but it's a real thing that's impacting children. If we do not figure out how to keep them learning and how to keep them creating and how to keep them thinking over the summer. I know a lot of people talk about how they used to just go to their grandma's house in the country and just play.
Grandmother's house, Vacation Bible School was my camp.
Right.
My parents didn't spend any money in the summertime.
But we know now how much that impacts our learners when they're starting school back in August and September. So we got to definitely strike a balance. I loved hearing about both of our beach experiences where Helen is having sand poured all over her and I've got sand all in my kids' diapers and I'm cleaning for days.
Yes.
But I hope you all take our challenge of creating a book and finding the best ice cream in your city. Stay tuned for future episodes around all things mothering. We invite you to share it with other mama friends, comment on any channel that you're listening to, whether it's YouTube, podcast, or Instagram. And stay tuned for more conversation.
Take care.
Thanks, y'all. Thank you for listening to the Behind the Throne podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and comment below with your feedback. Check out future episodes from us as we discuss motherhood from babies to adults.